are listening to Voice of the Fans Sportscast, brought to you by none other than the voices of the fans.
Oh, Canada.
For Tuesday, the 3rd of February, I'm Randy Kure. This is a Voice of the Fans Canada. Hope all is well, and thank you so much for joining us. We are, live on YouTube at VOF Canada. Be sure to like and subscribe to all social media at VOF Canada. It's a fantastic time to be a sports fan. We are days away from not only the Winter Olympics in Cortina, Milano, Italy, but the Super Bowl in San Francisco, California. This is Voice of the Fans Canada, but our panel is south of the 49 parallel. They are the co-hosts of Foursquare Sports, introducing host Matt Siriani, Kevin Zeliskovics, and for the first time, Alec Nava. Boys, thank you so much for joining us. How are you?
We are doing mighty fine, Randy. I've been pretty much a regular on the show, I guess you could say. Kevin's been on here before, but Alec is making his debut on this show, and I told Randy specifically if we were going to talk some hockey, there's one person that I think would be a phenomenal hockey mind that you could pick brain on, and I recommended Alec.
Yeah, no, I mean, and Alec, it's funny, before we got to air and we were chatting, just in preparation. Now, you are in North Carolina and you were born and raised there. However, you are all things Pittsburgh. You have the beautiful backdrop of the Three Rivers behind you, but you're wearing your Sidney Crosby Penguins jersey with pride, but you are all things Pittsburgh, including the Pirates. And that is because of your pops, is what you were telling me.
Yeah, that's correct. The only thing that's not Pittsburgh is basketball, and that's because we don't have an NBA team in Pittsburgh. I'm a Houston Rockets fan, but all things else, I am Pittsburgh in sports.
And how did you become a Rockets fan?
Family matters on my mom's side.
Oh, okay. Very cool. Very cool. Houston with Fred VanVleet on Houston, that still hurts my heart a little bit. But, I would have done the exact same thing getting that kind of contract. Fred has certainly a special place in the heart of Raptors fans. I'm sure he's going to do quite well in Houston. And
back next year.
Yes. Yeah, I'm sure he's going to do some great things next year. Kevin, you are in the Houston area, but you're all things New York, right?
Correct.
Yeah. Man, it's so much. That's why it's so much easier to be a Canadian, because there's only so little options to choose. Basically, Toronto, and if you follow hockey, maybe it's a different team outside of your province. But guys, once again, thank you so much. We are really going to be talking about a couple of events, but I mean, they are such of a global scale, and the Super Bowl, of course, is growing to all corners of the globe. The Winter Olympics may not have the scale of the Summer Games, but for two countries like Canada and the United States, the Winter Games is certainly special. But just before we get things started, guys, the Super Bowl, of course, is in San Francisco, and I could imagine, or maybe this is an unfair assumption, that you guys have traveled the globe. Traveled within the U.S. to various cities and so on. I don't know if you have been to San Francisco. I guess 32 locations where the Super Bowl can be held. Maybe they won't choose cold weather climates. But before we get things started, if you did have a chance to go to the Super Bowl, where would you want said Super Bowl to be?
New Jersey.
Now, sorry, Maddie, please.
Because like we've only had the Super Bowl in New Jersey one time, and that happened to be the time where there was a massive snowfall the day after the Super Bowl, and it just irks me because I feel like New Jersey doesn't really have too many big time events. We do have the World Cup this year, which is a plus, but I feel like when it comes to the New Jersey, New York area, we typically don't have major sporting events like we typically used to back in the day when we were the marquee area to go to for any attraction. Now it's like California, Florida, and maybe even a little bit of New Orleans. I would like to have a main event, a Super Bowl in my hometown again, and actually go to it.
Yeah. Kevin, what about yourself? You're in the Houston area, and Houston, of course, has held the Super Bowl. Would you want it to have it in your area, or is there a city in the U.S. that you'd love to visit and check out the big game?
Just like Matt, being that I'm from New Jersey, I would have probably said New Jersey too, because I do still have some family there, and I think it would be awesome to see a Super Bowl in my hometown in New Jersey. But here in Houston, I know we have the Summer Olympics coming up, like here in LA, I believe is also hosting it too. So that's pretty cool as well. But I probably would have said Jersey too, just because, I rip them too.
Yeah. Alec, you are in Raleigh, and forgive me for not knowing how close Raleigh is to Charlotte, but Charlotte's never held the Super Bowl, have they?
No, not in its history, but I would love to see the Super Bowl being held in Charlotte if we were to stay faithful to outdoor stadiums and to have it held in those environments. We've had a lot of indoor stadium, here in the NFL, and with more indoor stadiums on the way, if you're looking at stadiums in Kansas City, Cleveland, Chicago, Jacksonville's renovating their stadium to become indoor, coming over from outdoor. But if you want to stay faithful to outdoor, I think Charlotte would be one of the good places to put it at. If you want to have it indoors, then I would say Houston for that matter, because of the family ties and all of that. But for me personally, I would have it either at Charlotte or Houston.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm a little surprised that you guys are not really Vegas interested, or maybe like in Arizona or something. Too expensive.
I mean,
well, let's say money was
I'd be gambling with my money if it was in Vegas. I'd be gambling with my money. I'd be broke.
Are you three Vegas boys? Like, have you guys ever been? Are you guys big gamblers?
Yeah, we have never been.
I've been there one time, and I can tell you right now, if you don't spend your money or invest the right way, or you don't budget, you will get wiped clean of all your money.
I'd imagine. Yeah,
I've never been to Vegas. The closest time I've ever come to even going there was plans falling apart for going there for a 7-mile race over at Las Vegas.
Nice.
A 7-mile running race. You were going to participate?
I had plans with some of my college friends to do that, but it fell apart.
Oh, okay. I'm not the biggest gambler in the world. If I have it, and maybe after a few drinks, maybe I would blow my life savings. But I got to tell you, like, I did go to a Golden Knights game during their first season against San Jose. And oh man, like Alec, I mean, you're apparently you're the big hockey guy amongst the Foursquare crowd, and the presentation was just absolutely bananas. Like, imagine you've gone to your fair share of Hurricane games, but and I don't know, and it seems that the Hurricanes put on a really good show as well, especially during the playoffs. But it was just awesome, that Vegas scene. The arena being right on the Strip, the music. Yeah, that was just absolute carnage. But I mean, like, I know what you're saying, Kevin. I mean, it was a fortune and a half. Those the drinks, the tickets, and everything else. Okay. Yeah, for me, if I have been to my fair share of U.S. cities, I had a really, I was really impressed with Phoenix. Just
Hmm.
the temperature. Like, I don't really know where the stadium is from downtown Phoenix. I guess it's in Glendale, right?
It's in
So,
Glendale.
no, I don't know how far that is from Phoenix, but just the the temperature and the city itself, I really really enjoyed it. But maybe one day I'll like you guys be able to spend $30,000 on a ticket to go to the Super Bowl.
Oh,
So guys, before we get to the Super Bowl, the Olympics just a couple of days away, and of course, the United States are waiting for 2028 when the games are in Los Angeles. And of course, the US are not strangers to hosting the Winter Games. They had in 2002 in Salt Lake, and it is going to return in 2034, I believe, in Salt
yes,
Lake.
you're correct.
Yeah, yeah. And really interested to hear, especially from Kevin and Alec, for being in cities like Houston and Raleigh. I can appreciate the fact that the Winter Games may not carry the kind of clout that maybe the Summer Games do. But between the three of you yourselves, do you prefer the winter over the summer? And Kevin, Alec, like, do you get a sense that there is Olympic buzz in your respective towns for the Olympics coming up?
For me personally, I just prefer the Summer Olympics more, but there are some great Winter Olympics events that we'll talk about later. But I just like all the different types of events that I just have more memories with the Summer Olympics as opposed to Winter Olympics. But I also think that, yeah, there is some buzz down here in Houston about the Olympics, especially coming up, because I know that Houston is going to be hosting it in a couple of years along with LA. So there is a lot of, hype around it. So I'm excited for this Winter Olympics personally, because I've always watched it along in conjunction with the Summer Olympics. But for me, I just prefer Summer Olympics over Winter Olympics.
Alec, how about yourself?
All right, I personally don't have an opinion about which one I prefer between Summer and Winter Olympics, because Summer Olympics is a lot of lasting memories. But where my ears perk up on the specific types of sports, aside from the obvious in the ice hockey, whenever I hear snowboarding, skiing in winter, or in the case of the Summer Olympics, aside from basketball, because that's an obvious factor, I'm looking at sports like field hockey, rowing, gymnastics, and specifically track and field, having been a track and field guy myself in high school.
Okay.
That's where my ears start to perk up if Summer Olympics, when track and field is mentioned.
Yeah. Yeah, I've always thought to be a track athlete must be so demanding, because the practicing that especially as a sprinter, like, how many times are you supposed to run 100 meters, and you're doing it in an empty, just like a single lane, like in a track facility, what have you. And there's only so many times you get to do it in front of a, stadium full of people. But you actually get to those bright lights, and that's I could appreciate that for sure. Track and field, obviously, it's one of the glamour events of the Summer Games. Maddie, about sorry, please, Alec.
But yeah, and the distance runners too. Don't forget.
Sure.
Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah, no way. Sometimes I get winded when I walk up the stairs in my own house. Maddie, what about yourself? I mean, obviously, Kevin, of course, was raised in New Jersey as well. You're still in that area. I can appreciate that. Yeah, there is some a little bit more hype, if you will, in your neck of the woods. But for you personally, I mean, like, winter or summer, what's your fancy?
Well, as a winter baby, I appreciate the winter a lot, but the Winter Olympic Games don't really get as much hype or attention as the Summer Olympics do, just because of the time of season where people want to stay inside and maybe not get athletic. But the Winter Olympics does hold value. I mean, it's tough to do some of the things they do, like the ice skating. I like the ice skating a lot, where they do these routines, and I also like the hill events. I like that. I like stuff like that.
Yeah,
like,
sure.
And then obviously the hype surrounding hockey this year is going to be monumental because of what happened to the Four Nations face-off. But so there's a couple events in winter that really grab your attention, especially this year. But summer, I don't know. I'm just invested in it more because of the variety of stuff that they have that basically appeals to everything except hockey. Like they're gonna have football now in 2028. They have baseball on occasion, and we're gonna have the World Baseball Classic this year too. And then they also have basketball. Tennis is involved, and then you got stuff like swimming and gymnastics, where it just pulls you in. Like, and especially the big names like Simone Biles, like Colton Hawker, like Caleb Dressel. All these athletes are like that you don't really know from a professional standpoint, but you know them from the Olympics. They put their stamp. I feel like the footprint is bigger in the Summer Olympic Games than the Winter Olympic Games.
Well, yeah, I mean that goes without saying. Obviously, with the United States, like the U.S. wins as much as 100 medals, and there's only so many events in the Winter Games, and the winter events. You need some really elaborate facilities to host those events, and only so much of your country actually has a winter climate. So, and obviously Canada, being a touch brisk for a longer portion of the year. Yeah, no, it's funny actually. Years ago, was it Vancouver? So obviously, being born and raised in Canada, my classmate from elementary school, he's half German, half Chinese, born and raised in the same city as I was. And I'm watching the Vancouver Olympics 2010. Lo and behold, my classmate is doing short track speed skating, representing Germany because of his mother.
Oh,
Yeah,
cool.
no, I'm just watching. I knew he was a speed skater, but Canada is one of the best countries for speed skating, short track at least. And I'm watching TV. Lo and behold, there's my classmate representing Germany. I mean, obviously, with winter and summer, Canada is just so much better in the Winter Games. And I guess because of that, that's why I personally enjoy the winter more. And because, the ice events, including hockey, finally, NHLers are back in it. But should they be in it, guys? Because I'm telling you, I'm nervous. I'm really, really nervous to the fact that NHL talent is back in the Olympics. You guys being in your 20s, my first sporting memory, Matt, Kevin, you guys, when we were speaking with Tony Antonio, who's roughly my age as well, my first sporting memory was the 1987 Canada Cup. And it's a summer event. All the top countries in the world were playing. Games were in my area, and it was in the summer, and there was no concern of injuries during the season. Obviously, the season doesn't have to shut down, and now, of course, they do, and they're going to have to do it in another 4 years, going back to Europe because the Winter Games are in France. Maybe a little easier for 2034 when it's in Salt Lake, but is this risk worth it, guys? Do you think NHLers should take part in the Olympics?
So it's a push and pull thing, because yes, you want to have the best of the best in the professional craft participate in the Olympics because it's such a big pride thing with the Olympics where you're competing for a gold medal, you're representing your country, and it's great. But if, God forbid, you have a torn ACL on the ice during an Olympic event and you have to miss an entire year, that's where the red flag kind of comes in. It'd be kind of like the World Baseball Classic a few years ago when Edwin Diaz hurt himself and he had to miss a whole year of baseball because he hurt himself during the World Baseball Classic during a celebration. It's just one of those things where the risk is high, but the reward is also high if things go right. And I feel like that's the problem for hockey, especially of how intense the sport can be.
Kev?
Yeah, I'm in agreement with Maddie here. I was just thinking the same thing. I mean, you can directly correlate the Winter Olympics in conjunction with the World Baseball Classic. Like, should players play in that too? It's kind of the same scenario here, where like, yes, it is a high risk, high reward scenario, but you want to play for your specific country. You want to try to win a gold medal, and you want to be performing on a global scale like that, on that kind of stage. And I think, like, for people in the NHL, I think it's a great way to showcase like their talents that people don't really necessarily watch hockey all that much. But if they watch the Winter Olympics, they can see what all these players can do at the highest level and compete with different countries around the world. So I think, yes, it does get a high risk if you're an injury away and then that you miss the entire rest of the season. But the reward is far greater, and I think the players are willing to take that risk.
Alec, I mean, you're a hockey guy. Is that gold medal worth that risk?
Now, for context, to go back on this, it used to not be the norm to send professional athletes to the Olympics. They used to restrict it to amateur athletes only. But if you want a true best-on-best tournament, the best players are the professional athletes of that respective sport. So if you want a true best-on-best tournament, that means NHLers. It could also mean professionals from other leagues that can step in and fill in those other roster spots on those other countries. So the risk can be worth it so as to represent your own country. There's national pride involved in this as well. So I get the point that Matt and Kevin are looking to get across. The injury risk, that's understandable. The national pride, also understandable.
Yeah, well, I mean, when you guys were saying about injuries, I don't know if you guys remember, but when John Tavares was on the New York Islanders, he blew out his ACL, I think it was. He missed the rest of the season.
Yes.
After the Sochi Olympics. And I've always thought, I mean, the Islanders was just a fledgling team. They weren't really, they didn't really have much prominence. I'm wondering if Tavares was on the Leafs. I don't know if they're going to ever think about if Tavares was on the Leafs and then he injured himself like he did as a New York Islander. I don't think that the league would ever think about going back to the Olympics. Do you? And also, I had another point. Oh man, it always sucks when I forget my point. But yes, the 4-year consistency. The 4-year consistency of, say, the World Cup of Soccer. International hockey has never had a consistent rotation of event from event. Like, I could tell you that the Canada Cup, which is now the World Cup, it went from 76 to 81 to 87 to 91 to 96 to 2004, Alec, if I'm not mistaken, and 2016. I don't know how much a gold medal would be, like the value of it and representing your country, if the World Cup had a 4-year consistency. What do you guys think?
Well, if the product was consistent, then I guess things would be a lot more smoother. But I don't understand why there is inconsistency in that juncture with hockey events and big time stages like that. Like, I haven't seen the Four Nations face off in a while. I forget when the last one was, before last year.
That was the first one, Maddie.
The first one they ever did.
Yeah,
well,
that was the fourth. Yeah,
that's one of those events that they should run consistently. That if they want to keep that up and they want to keep repetition and also making sure that they're in condition for these type of events. That's the thing with hockey events. And I think because it's so physical and so demanding, that's why they don't do it as often. Especially because, like I mentioned, the injury risk for a lot of these players.
Yeah.
Yeah, the consistency is lacking with the World Cup of Hockey as opposed to the FIFA World Cup. in that. So there needs to be consistent planning. As of now, the current plan for the next World Cup of Hockey is supposed to be in 2028. We've yet to figure out the host country and host cities for that matter. But think of it as if Canada will be hosting the 2028 World Cup of Hockey, and we'd see cities like Toronto, Edmonton, Montreal being host cities for that matter. Everything is kind of niche right now. We don't know which countries are going to be represented. Could it be something similar to what we're seeing in the Olympics, what we're seeing upon the list of countries that could be represented for this type of event? And who's going to sanction this? Is it going to be the NHL themselves, or is it going to be the IIHF?
Yeah. Yeah, well, it's funny, and Kevin, feel free to jump in if you have any additional thoughts. But quite frankly, I don't want to see World Cup matches in Canada, let alone the U.S. I want to see them in Europe. I really want to see them grow the game. I think that there really is something like if there was I know I keep bringing up this concept multiple times. I would just love to see it happen. If you guys follow golf, golf has USA versus Europe in the Ryder Cup, USA versus the rest of the world in President's Cup. If they had a President's Cup like 7-game series in basketball, USA versus the world, and if they have that in Europe, I think it would be bananas. Because we don't need to grow. Well, I mean, obviously, it would be nice to grow the game somewhat here, but
right.
I think to grow the NBA, obviously, it's on such a platform as it is. But imagine USA, the Team USA, going all the way to Europe to try and win that World Cup, for example. And if they did the same thing for hockey, I think it'd just be great.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like I feel like the United States, I'm not really too certain as to how passionate other countries are when it comes to certain sports like football, but I know that they're passionate about their soccer, they're passionate about their tennis. I know that other countries, they're passionate about certain things. And I feel like for certain sports like football, that's why the NFL is trying to grow the game and take it to other countries to get a sense of like increasing, taking advantage of a demographic, taking advantage of where fanship can grow. Right. And I know that for a fact that if there was a soccer match in Portugal, when it's Portugal versus the United States, I guarantee you people in Portugal would show up in bunches to see that.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, they would.
Because these lower countries love their sports and they take so much pride in them. And the U.S. is like a superpower to a lot of these countries. So having a chance to beat us is like a Super Bowl for them.
Do you guys think that the NFL should keep going to Brazil? Because I don't know. It doesn't really seem to me that Brazil has much of a rugby foundation, and rugby, football, American football. I think there's more of a correlation than say American football and European football. Like Brazil doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Now they are playing a game next year in Australia, which is massive for rugby.
Yeah,
I think it would be a goldmine if an NFL game goes to South Africa. Because South Africa is just such an incredible rugby nation. They have infrastructure. The rugby stadiums are insane. Brazil doesn't make a lot of sense. South Africa, and I know we're going way off topic here, but
I mean, the NFL is going to Mexico next season.
Yeah,
true.
Yeah, but I mean, I guess Alec, the American influence is such that it's so prominent in a country like Mexico. I'm guessing. But Brazil just doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Now, obviously, it's one of the most populated countries in the world, so they'll find people to go to those games. But South Africa just seems like it sounds like such a great market to grow American football to. I don't know. What do you guys think?
I feel like that's a great point you bring up, Randy, especially about how one game is going to be in Melbourne, Australia, and you mentioned Rio. I think what the NFL is trying to do, and I could be wrong on this, But besides Antarctica, I think they're trying to play one game in every continent so that all parts of the world are like covered, and like that way the game of football can grow within every part of the world. And like Rio covers South America, obviously North America is going to have it. Melbourne takes care of Australia, Germany takes care of Europe, and now we're really only missing Africa and Asia. And you bring up South Africa, I feel like that'd be a good spot, like you mentioned, to bring a game like football where South Africa is known for having the rugby infrastructure and all that. I think that would be a great additions to have for like international games going forward. But I think that's what the NFL is going to do. I could be wrong, because what I was kind of confused too whenever I saw Rio and Melbourne. I was used to like the Germany games and all that, but Rio and Melbourne, like especially Melbourne in Australia, the only like downside I see to that is like the amount of travel that like the two teams who have to play in Australia have to do. And like, because I don't know exactly what the time zones are between like USA and Australia. Like, who can watch it or not? Like, I don't know if I'm going to be watching football at like 3 a.m. Like I have to watch the French Open. You know what I mean? So,
oh my goodness.
And the Australian Open for that matter. So I do think the NFL wants football to be a part at least once in like every continent, so that the whole world can like watch the game of football grow. So that's what I think.
Yeah. And to add on to Kevin's point, it's not even just expanding, like going across every continent. They're starting to go to major cities. Like next year, we're gonna have an NFL game in Paris, France. Next year.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
Another. Actually, before you continue, Maddie, I got to tell you, I went to Paris a couple of years ago, and it was during the World Cup of Rugby, and my God, rugby in France is crazy. And France being such a strong rugby nation, and obviously Paris being one of the most affluent, big cities in the world. Yeah, no, Paris is a great idea. Please go ahead.
But I think you want exposure across the country. It's not even just taking advantage of markets. You want exposure. And the fact that the NFL hasn't had a game in Asia yet is kind of shocking to me, because I know like 30-something years ago, there was like a preseason game that they had in Tokyo, and they wanted to try it out. And apparently that experiment didn't work, so they kind of just withdrew it. But to have an NFL game played in Tokyo, that'd be massive, because
I was just about to bring that up.
Because how big that market is across the country.
Why am I thinking that they already did go to Tokyo like years ago? I want to
say
they
did.
that
it was a preseason game, and they didn't really get anything out of it.
They never had a regular season game in Tokyo?
No.
Okay. I know that before the Nagano Olympics, or maybe just after, the NHL did have a couple of games in Tokyo. And I mean, I think it did quite well. But is there? What do you guys think about in terms of like the reception towards these international games? I mean, are Americans indifferent to it? Because I guess, if I'm a season seat holder, or you're missing what? How many home games does each team play? Is it 9 home games?
8 or 9. It depends.
8 or 9. It depends. Yeah, there's my football knowledge for you. But when you miss, when you get one game taken away from you, that's still a big chunk. What is the response, to put you on the spot, with regards to international games within your country, men and women?
Like I said, I don't mind it personally. I think, like I said, I think it's a great way to expand and grow the game of football. Like if there's a game in Germany, like if I'm able to watch it, like of course I'll tune in. Because I think the Germany games, at least for me, I think are like 8 a.m. or something like that. So if it's on like Sunday, I'll take a watch. And like if especially if the Giants are playing, and I think the Giants are going to play in Germany this upcoming season, so I'll definitely watch that. But yeah, but I don't have any problem with it personally.
Yeah. Very nice. Very nice. No, thanks so much for indulging me, fellas. I know it wasn't really topics that you were really prepared for. But I think that just the global aspect of any sport, and it's so amazing that the NFL just is so leaps and bounds the most popular sport in the United States. But like, how is it the rest of the world? You know, uh, there's a sprinkling here and there in some countries of Europe, but yeah, does it have the global effect? No, definitely not in terms of basketball and soccer. But maybe slowly but surely, it's going to get to that point. For American football. And we might as well get over to the men's hockey tournament for the Olympics, guys. 2014 was kind of anticlimactic. I don't know if you guys remember it off the top of your head. Canada was very dominant in winning gold. I apologize. I can't remember how US did in 2014. Alec, do you remember off the top of your head?
What I remember from that is TJ Oshie and the marathon on ice when he literally put the Americans on his back and going for 5 straight shootout rounds to defeat Russia in the shootout, scoring 3 goals against Sergei Bobrovsky, who was one of the better goaltenders in the NHL at that point. That's what I can remember from, but all else I can't remember. I do remember that Canada did win gold in that, but I got it.
Yeah, I remember it was against Sweden, and because it was in Russia, obviously Canada, they were so jacked.
Oh yeah, got it. The Americans were fourth as we lost the bronze medal to Finland.
Okay. Well, let's call it what it is. I think it's safe to say that U.S. is one of the country to beat, maybe for the gold medal. I was rather skeptical with regards to 4 nations in Canada. I thought that U.S., especially in their goaltending, was going to overpower Canada. And, Alec, we might as well start with you. What do you think the key factors are for the U.S. to claim Olympic gold for the first time since the Miracle on Ice?
Let's look back at when the Miracle on Ice was the iconic gold medal. Yeah. Now, keep in mind, we didn't win that gold medal against the Soviets. We won that in our last game against Finland.
So I'm sorry. Yeah. Miracle on Ice Olympics. Excuse me.
Yeah, Miracle on Ice Olympics. Yes, 1980. That was the iconic one. Mm-hmm. But as for the Americans, I was rather more between okay to upset with some of the selections, such as the notable omission of Jason Robertson. Like, that doesn't even make sense. It continues to baffle me to this very day. Now, and here this time around, he was onto a hot scoring start. What more does he have to do to make the Olympic team? He brings you offense, he brings you defense, he brings you the hitting that the Americans have been fantasizing about, the physicality of this. But that it's not only Robertson who was left off. Adam Fox was labeled as a scapegoat for the Connor McDavid overtime winner in the 4 Nations Championship. And now we talk about the Americans. Yes, there have been injuries left and right for Team USA throughout the course of the season. Jacob Slavin, Charlie McAvoy, and even the Tkachuk brothers, of course. Matthew Tkachuk just got back, and he has just 6 points and a -7 rating in the 8 games since he returned from his surgery recovery from the first half of the season. But one key player to watching is Austin Matthews. He's currently on pace to finish below a point per game for the first time since rookie season, despite being on pace to score 40 goals for the 7th time in his career. There's also the factor of playoffs, which he has this habit of not showing up when it truly matters.
Whatever do you mean? I have no idea what you're talking about, Alec.
All right, Randy. I'll call a spade and say, to his credit, he did have 2 assists in the 4 Nations Championship, and one of them was on a tap-in goal from Brady Tkachuk. And I almost thought initially that was Matthews scoring, but it was Tkachuk who got the tip in.
And you know what, Alec? It's so funny because Jordan Binnington in the overtime of the 4 Nations final, Matthews was robbed by Binnington. An incredible glove save, and there's a part of me that thinks that these guys are saving themselves for the Olympics. I mean, obviously Kachuk, Matthew Kachuk was injured. Austin Matthews has been slumping. But when they put that USA tarp on, let alone all players with their respective countries, I think it's just I don't know if the regular season really means anything. What do you think?
Well, I know they may be saving themselves up for this tournament and all that. I just feel like some of these selections you could have gone better with. I mean, JT Miller over Jason Robertson and all of that. I'm still baffled by no Adam Fox, but Jackson Lacombe should provide the right fit on the right system that Mike Sullivan wants out of his guys. I'm excited to watch Tage Thompson on the power play and Quayton Keller for that matter, since those are two new additions onto the American team. Vincent Trocheck, okay, if you want defense, all right. But at least Robertson should still be there.
The thing that I'm looking at here, guys, more than anything, we're looking at the USA lineup, and for the most part, these are some really not really, but I mean they're significantly younger than, say, the Canadian team, and I think that is going to be the big difference maker. Because let's scroll up to Canada's roster here, and when you have guys like Sid and McKinnon's not that much younger. I mean, you have you have Drew Doughty, you got Marchand, and then the goaltending is a question mark. Like, is it would it be a disappointment if US doesn't come out with a gold? Because I think it would be.
Well, it would, and the reason why it would is because I feel like Team USA has been beefing up their roster over the last several hockey events. I remember the 2022 Winter Olympics. I think they were the number 1 seed in the knockout stage, and they were eliminated in the first round because they just got outplayed. I feel like, to me, Team USA, if they're going to keep beefing up their roster, they got to get results. They almost had it in the Four Nations face-off. But now the Olympics, gold medal on the line, country pride on the line. I feel like it has to be better. Now, you mentioned that the U.S. is going youth here. That's a good and bad thing. You're on a double-edged sword, because while you are youth, while you're going with the youth movement and while you're going with younger players, sometimes inexperience can come into fruition. Although the U.S. does have a talented roster on paper, literally on paper, but it's one of those things where it's like you don't know how Canada's experience can pan out. And you always got to be poised for an upset. Like, there could be Sweden can pull off an upset. Maybe Switzerland can sneak in. Like, you got to realize, outside of group play, knockout stage is knockout stage, and anything can happen.
Yeah, you look at some of the other sleeper teams like Czechia, Germany, for that matter, and not to mention about the experience that Canada has. I argued that from the Four Nations face-off, talent-wise, Canada got better with the addition of Macklin Celebrini, and you added Nick Suzuki and Bo Horvat to the mix. And on all that, Canada is the favorite to win the gold medal at the end of the day.
Yeah, well, you're too kind. But Canada, the favorite. I mean, Kevin, it doesn't really so much have to be about a hockey perspective, but there is always the age-old question of experience leads you to a championship. And Tom Brady didn't really have a lot of experience when he won that first Super Bowl. I mean, how about Jalen Hurts? I mean, what kind of experience did he have in winning a Super Bowl? And the Oklahoma City Thunder, say, like, I mean, yeah, sure, SGA has been around for a couple of years, but I mean, that core really wasn't there. And I mean, damned if you do, damned if you don't. But in a tournament like this, Kevin, do you think experience matters? Because essentially these guys are not really playing with their teammates. They're playing with a bunch of guys they don't really have a bond with.
I mean, you could say yes, and you can also say no. No, in the sense that experience doesn't always matter in cases like this, where you're on like a super team and you're trying to to fight for like, national pride or what have you. But also, yes, in the sense that like, if you are inexperienced, it can take a toll on you. Like if you're not ready to like be on like a big stage, like some of these guys on these rosters. But on Team Canada, they're loaded with guys that have had experience playing in big tournaments and on global. Absolutely, I agree with Alec. I think they should be the favorite to win the gold. But I'm also in agreement with Matt. I feel like that Team USA definitely is in a good position with their youth. And I think that they can probably use that to their advantage against a Canada team that maybe has like a lot of the older guys on their team. But the experience does matter, in my personal opinion, when it comes to high level competition.
Yeah. No, it is gonna. There is one more slide I want to show you, fellas. It'd be so helpful if I had a producer with me here. But yeah, let me see what I can do. Maybe I'll stop the screen here for a second. I'll share the screen, and I am going to go to hockey groups. So the groups have been obviously determined already. Canada is going to be in a group with Switzerland, Czechia, and France. USA is going to be with Germany, Latvia, and Denmark in Group C. Group B, a Scandinavian rivalry, the big rivalry between Finland and Sweden, Slovakia, and Italy. I guess if you want to go by NHLers, it seems that US has a bit of a quote-unquote easier path with a full roster of NHL players, where the other three teams in the group don't even come close. A little bit tougher for Canada's group, and of course Sweden and Finland. They're definitely going to go tooth and nail to try and advance to the next round. But quick prediction, guys. Who do you guys? Who do you think we'll see in the gold medal game? Alec, you may have to help me out here. Do you know how the format is for the tournament? Like, is it group winners and the best team that's not in first place, or no? It can't be. It's there's got to be a quarterfinal and a semi, right? What's the deal?
It's the first round. So the first round consists of the teams that everywhere else based on seeding. Quarterfinals, the three teams that win their group get to the quarterfinals, from what I'm believing it to be, and then the fourth place team in that finishes on points, they go to the quarterfinals. So everywhere else competes for a quarterfinal spot in the first round. So then there on out, it goes quarterfinals, semifinals, and then gold medal and bronze medal game, for that matter.
Yeah. So that means, okay, so if it's a quarter, so that means there's 8 teams. There's 8 teams that make it to the quarters. So, but I mean, like, long story short, you can't really say that it is going to be Canada, USA going for gold, right? You gotta think
done, Randy.
Yeah, easier said than done, for sure. Like, I mean, in terms of grabbing a medal, like, why not Finland? I mean, it was Finland and Sweden. You know what? I don't even know if there's any point in asking this question. We might have, because personally, my thoughts are that USA is the gold medal favorite. But you never know, like, because is Linus Allmark, Alec? Do you know if he's going to be able to return?
He came back from his time off dealing with mental health, and honestly, all the props to him about addressing mental health, because it's a serious matter to deal with.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. And what better way to whatever the situation was, to represent your country and maybe have a little success in the Olympics. Hopefully he is doing well. Hopefully Sweden doesn't take it to Canada. I'm just saying. Yeah. Guys, why don't we make our way over to the NFL, shall we?
Yes, dude.
Lots of changes have taken place. Some interesting press conferences. Of course, we're going to be talking about the Super Bowl. I think leading up to the Hall of Fame announcement with Bill Belichick, which we'll get to in a moment, the Buffalo Bills, of course, made headlines not only with the firing of Sean McDermott, but a wild press conference with Bills owner Terry Pagula, basically throwing McDermott under the bus for a wide range of reasons. Just looked extremely unpolished. The Bills had this magical run the past 8-10 years, getting a consistency to the playoffs, being a Super Bowl contender. Of course, they've never won a Super Bowl. Now you do have this going on. What's going to happen with Keon Coleman? Because Pagula was not too kind to him during that press conference. How much further is the Bills behind the 8 ball? In terms of damage control, in terms of shaking it off, being a contender again, are they still there, or do they have some work to do now?
I feel like this team has work to do after their owner called out basically the entire organization. I feel like the team is still good, although this was their best chance to win the Super Bowl because no Mahomes, no Lamar, no Joe Burrow standing in your way in the playoffs. You had to run the table because you were the most experienced team in the playoffs, and then you lose in the second round. You don't even make it to the conference championship game. And go to the Terry Pagula thing, for instance. First off, that was very, very uncalled for and very unprofessional of him to call out to throw Keon Coleman under 1,000 buses, as Alec put it, to basically say radical or extreme things about Sean McDermott that really didn't seem to make sense. And talking about how Josh Allen was crying at the press conference and how he expects a winner. And all you had to do was say one thing: we've hit the proverbial playoff wall. That was the one thing you had to say, and that's the one thing you should have said. But no, he kept running his mouth, and it didn't work out. But now you hire Joe Brady, who's the next head coach of the Buffalo Bills. And in my honest opinion, it's either going to work or it's not going to work, because it could work in a sense that, okay, Josh Allen and Joe Brady have worked together and they know each other so well. It could work out bad because the inmates could run the asylum and players could take advantage of Joe Brady. That's how I feel about this hire. But the Buffalo Bills.
You think that was an issue? You think that was an issue, Matty? In terms of McDermott losing the room?
I don't think he lost the room. I think Terry Pagula had lost his patience. That's what I really think happened. And McDermott was a good coach. Players didn't lose the locker room, in my opinion. And I think that it was such a weird and dramatic turn of events. Although some speculated that could happen, that McDermott could lose his job because of what they had in front of them, and they didn't take advantage of it.
Yeah, I agree with Matt. I don't think McDermott lost the room at all. I think it was more so Pagula losing his patience, like he said, because in my opinion, that's one of the more unjustifiable firings throughout this whole firing extravaganza of these head coaches. I feel like one good head coach got fired, and everybody decided hey, let's do the same thing. Let's get a new head coach in here since everyone's firing everybody. Sean McDermott being one of the most unjustifiable firings, in my personal opinion. And yes, the Bills have not been the most successful in the playoffs, and they haven't been able to get to the promised land and go to a Super Bowl. But you also have to consider the fact that it's not really all Sean McDermott's fault for what the players do onto the field. Like that catch, Dalton Kincaid could have made that catch, and they could have won the game against the Broncos, and then we wouldn't even have this discussion, would we? And then it would be already in the AFC Championship game against New England, and then maybe they not knock them off, and then we're talking about a Bills Seahawks Super Bowl, and then we would squash those arguments right there. So I feel like I agree. It's more so Pagula than McDermott or anything else, and I agree with Joe Brady. I'd say they maybe try him out for maybe a couple years until maybe they cut him loose, because this is an OC turned head coach, and it's a big risk and gamble to just promote your OC to be your head coach. I've seen it happen. The Giants just did it with Mike Kafka, for the last few games of the year. But guess what? Yep. It worked, and he did a good job. And I thought that when we did get John Harbaugh in here, I thought he was going to keep him on, but he decided to pursue other avenues, and he's able to get a job elsewhere because he's proved that it can work. It can work. It doesn't always work. But in this case with Josh Allen, like you could see after his press conference, like how horrible he felt. He felt like they left the team down. That's exactly what he said. But if you keep turning the ball over like in a playoff game, like you have nobody to blame but yourself. It's not Sean McDermott's fault, but I feel like Terry Pagula felt like if he didn't do something drastic like that to fire a Sean McDermott, then I feel like he doesn't feel like that this team can move it in the direction going forward. But for him to say something about not only Keon Coleman, but for basically the entire organization is absolutely uncalled for. And I think more than anything else that the Bills front office needs a reality check more so than the coaching staff.
I was on that same point in my lengthy Bills rant on Foursquare Sports.
That was a good one.
But as I was going to go on with this, Sean McDermott, in my opinion, was a problem. He's not the problem of this team. Yes, so as I was to say, this Bills team needs a reset. They need to find out where they stand as a team and if they're close. So that's why this promotion took place. I feel like this is going to be a variation of a Sean Payton type of team. Why is this? Joe Brady used to be an assistant under Sean Payton with the New Orleans Saints. Most of the staff that Brady's hiring is formerly Sean Payton and coaches that were under him. Pete Carmichael was a longtime offensive lieutenant of Sean Payton. Used to be the offensive coordinator of the Saints. Now he's the offensive coordinator of the Bills. Jim Leonhard, on the other hand, he was the secondaries coach and the pass game coordinator on the defensive side of the ball with the Broncos under Sean Payton. Now he's being promoted to defensive coordinator. And honestly, this will mark a shift from a 4-3 defense to a 3-4 defense in Buffalo. So you're going to have a big man in the middle up against the center. And you're seeing this same type of defense like teams like the Ravens, Steelers, Patriots, Giants, and Seahawks currently run. A base 3-4 defense. So 3 defensive linemen, 4 linebackers as part of this core. Joe Brady's promotion could also work things out for Keon Coleman, for that matter, because he has faith in him turning things around. What also I noted in the last episode of Foursquare Sports is that Chad Johnson offered to mentor Keon Coleman over the course of the offseason.
Yes.
And that could be good news for him.
Really? Chad Johnson? Chad
The
Ochocinco Johnson?
Chad Ochocinco.
You want him to mentor your players?
If the goal is to develop your highest drafted wide receiver into a wide receiver 1, then this can mean good things work out. You need to have a wide receiver 1 that can truly separate from one another and make battles in contested catches. Chad Johnson can help with that to help with Keon Coleman grow into the wide receiver 1 that the Bills were envisioning him to be when they traded down with the Chiefs.
Don't you think that's 1 step forward, 2 steps back, Alec? I mean, like, and now you guys, I'm asking a question. I'm not, because, I mean, Chad Johnson, yeah, sure. I mean, obviously the talent is there. And I'm sure got into some extracurriculars off the field. I don't know if he's the kind of guy that you'd want mentoring your kids. Like, I could appreciate the fact that he's, a fantastic wideout. If he was considered for, I don't know if he's that close to a Hall of Fame consideration, but he definitely had some moxie to him. But Chad Johnson just does not seem the right kind of guy. What do you guys think? Like, I mean, does the off-field stuff, does that even mean anything? Does it matter? I guess. And I'm asking, of course, hearing this for the first time, that I would want a star talent, but a quality person as well.
Well, one thing I will say is, like, Chad Ochocinco has had his fair share of hiccups with his personality during his playing career. Sometimes they say you mature with age, and that's exactly what Chad Johnson's probably done over the course of his life. And he ultimately sees the value in a guy like Keon Coleman. And sometimes when a very talented wide receiver gives you his hand, sometimes you just gotta take it and just run with it. and make the most of it.
Yeah. Yeah. As we continue, guys, with the firing carousel there, Mike Tomlin spent all those years with Alec's Pittsburgh Steelers, and Alec, obviously, from my vantage point, it seemed that a few people were tapping their fingers, waiting for Tomlin to be released. I mean, this is obviously a little bit of uncharted waters for Tomlin. What say you in terms of his dismissal? I mean, were you happy that the Tomlin tenure is over in Pittsburgh?
I'm more. It's a hard topic for me to grasp because the message was getting stale in Pittsburgh, and of course there need to be changed because things are going nowhere. The roster construction is bad, and this team is not well equipped to go on a deep playoff run as is. We haven't won a playoff game in a decade, and for that, there needs to be changed. And there's only so much that Mike Tomlin can do to keep this team afloat. I mean, he's been coaching for 19 years with the Steelers, and seeing so much squeezing every bit of juice right out a team that isn't going to go anywhere towards a Super Bowl or a higher draft pick can only put so much on you. So he had to do what he did, and that's step down on his own terms because the Steelers do not fire coaches. We have a tendency to let them go on their own terms. But honestly, Tomlin made the right call. He stepped down when he can, and he escaped a sinking ship. And I'll say, I'll appreciate Mike Tomlin for what he has done. For me, this is more me in mourning for that matter, because I'll appreciate for what he did. At the time, the hire made complete sense. We needed a change because Bill Cowher just went out of a Super Bowl on his grasp. So he went out on his own terms. Mike Tomlin, he was hired to help keep that same balance of defense first. There's with that same culture that we've gotten. Young defensive coordinator. And I thought that we would continue on with that trend with Chris Shula, who was also a young defensive coordinator in his 30s. Maybe you want to go for Brian Flores or Anthony Weaver if you want to go someone a little bit older. Mike McCarthy, though, what?
But yeah, and I guess McCarthy, yeah, it's doesn't really seem like it has your approval there, Alec. But I guess it is kind of interesting because Chuck Noll, Bill Cowher,
yes,
both of them, like, they've been around for so long. Why do you think is it just simply a loyalty thing with ownership that they're just are they just too married to their head coaches, Alec? I mean, like, and I guess Maddie, Kevin, you could chime in as well.
Yeah,
I mean, 3 coaches since how many? How
3
many
coaches
years?
since 69.
69. Like
3 coaches since 1969.
That's
so
actually insane. Thinking about that. That streak will mean that normally you have a very good, well-oiled operation around you. But here's the difference. Dan Rooney, when he was living, he made the tough decisions. He knew when and things were going stale, so he knew when to make the tough decisions so as to make the moves that made complete sense. Art Rooney II is just married to the brand he's obsessed with the idea of a competitive team and not an actual competitive team. When you're squeezing so much juice.
Sorry, Alec. Just to help me out here. When did Art Rooney take control of the team?
When Dan
Rooney
passed away.
What year was that?
2017.
2017. Okay, so 9 years, and I guess Art Rooney didn't win a playoff game since he took over.
Yeah, this is Art Rooney II, by the way. We have not won a playoff game under his ownership.
Yeah. Yeah, I could appreciate that. It's some frustrating times over there. But I know for sure. I mean, I guess between Harbaugh and I know Pete Carroll had a difficult time in Vegas. I mean, was there beyond McDermott, fellas? I mean, was there any firing that was a little bit surprising for you?
Oh yeah, for sure. For sure. And I can just say it. He's the coach of my team currently, John Harbaugh, easily. Like as soon as when I saw that he got fired, I was like, what? Why? And like, even though, yes, they did lose that close game to Alec's team, the Pittsburgh Steelers, I'm like, are they really going to be blaming John Harbaugh for Tyler Loop missing a 43-yard field goal? Like that is not his fault. And yes, I know that you can look at the Baltimore Ravens' previous playoff runs prior to that, but same thing. All of those playoff runs, how they ended, were not John Harbaugh's fault. Like look at the Ravens where Mark Andrews dropped a tying 2-point conversion. Look at when they versed who was it? I think it was the Broncos or wherever it was, where they had a fumble in the end zone and they ran it back. Bengals, and they ran it back for a touchdown. Look at Zay Flowers fumbling in the end zone when diving for it. Those are not John Harbaugh's fault. It's literally just mistake after mistake after mistake by the players on the field at the worst possible times. That has nothing to do with coaching. That's just effort and not being able to execute at a timely manner whenever you're called upon on a field, especially in the playoffs. And it comes at the worst possible times when it happened. When they versed the Titans and Derrick Henry ran all over them. Now he's their running back and he's played great, but he fumbles the ball. That's something that coaching can't solve, but it's effort for holding on to the ball. And Derrick Henry is a great running back for all that he is, but sometimes he lets the ball pop out of his arms whenever he runs the ball. That's nothing that Harbaugh can control. All he can say is like, hey, hold on to the ball, man. Like, there's nothing really that you can coach from that. Effort cannot be coached. I've learned that a long time when I was playing baseball for my entire life. But, like, it's nothing like that onto the field, especially that missed field goal by Tyler Loop, which he absolutely should have made. That's not Harbaugh's fault. And I feel like the owner, Biscotti, whatever his name was, I feel like it was a similar case to, what was it? Sean McDermott. Like, I feel like he felt like if there wasn't a big change, like firing a head coach, that they wanted to bring like a younger guy in here, like a Jesse Minter, which they did, and see what different direction they want to go because they know that they can win and they can get to a Super Bowl with this core with Lamar Jackson still in his prime. And I understand that like other teams have been and the quarterbacks have been in the way of him, like Burrow, Mahomes, Allen, and all that. But that shouldn't be an excuse. It doesn't fall on Harbaugh like at all, in my opinion. So I think that's one of the more baffling hires, along with Sean McDermott and Mike Tomlin.
Yeah, Maddie, before we Maddie, please go ahead.
Honest to God, I agree with what Kevin said. I mean, John Harbaugh has been coach of the Baltimore Ravens a year shorter than Mike Tomlin was coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Mm-hmm. He's run a great organization. He's a former Super Bowl champion. He was criticized for not firing his offensive coordinator, who now has a job with the Cleveland Browns. But it was just bad player execution. A lot of the other firings, like maybe Raheem Morris in Atlanta, you can probably say is a little bit of a shock because he typically didn't get a good rep in Atlanta, even though it was his second opportunity and he was dying for an opportunity like that, and he did a good job. But other than that, John Harbaugh is the most shocking firing because he literally did nothing wrong.
I beg to differ about the nothing wrong part because the blown double-digit leads, the blown fourth quarter leads, the conservative play calling in the fourth quarter. What about all of that? Are we just gonna let that fly out the window or all of that? Maybe I can see it's a player problem, but also we have to acknowledge the execution problem. We can't just address the elephant. We can't just leave the elephant in the room unaddressed. Yes,
fair enough.
For all of that.
Fair enough.
But to the point of the player execution, yes, the Zay Flowers stuff, you had to point out. Mark Andrews, the Tyler Loop, and all of that. Defensive breakdowns after Mike McDonald left for Seattle. Zach Orr looked overmatched as a defensive coordinator, too. And let's not forget, Lamar Jackson, despite all his heroics in the regular season, the playoffs his playoffs has been an up and downhill battle, but when it's bad, it's summarized by his pass to triple coverage against the Chiefs in the AFC Championship.
Good point, Alex.
Sorry, guys. Trying to get a couple things going at once. And Maddie, it looks like you have some big news here. I just saw your message on on the chat here, and the Cleveland Cavaliers have traded
acquired.
The LA Clippers have traded James Harden to the Cleveland Cavaliers. Maddie, what can you tell us about the trade? Do you have any info here for us?
The big beard is on the move yet again. It's honestly become a common formality where James Harden wants to win a championship. He can't do it, and then unfortunately, the guy has to go from location to location just to try to find a spot that makes sense. And it's just amazing, man. The guy, he just never seems to go away. What?
Yeah, no, I mean, don't you think that he may have had a decent thing going in Brooklyn? Like, I mean,
he did at one point.
With Kyrie Irving and please, Kevin, go ahead.
See, here's the thing with his tenure in Brooklyn. He only tried it for 1 year, truly, and then Kyrie and KD had other plans and went away, and then Harden was kind of fed up after it. He thought that that was going to be the year that he finally won it. And I can completely understand the frustration with him not being able to secure a title. And even when I moved to Houston in 2013, and I went to a ton of Rockets games, and I saw James Harden with the Rockets in his prime. I saw him live. I was there live in Toyota Center when he dropped that 60-point triple-double against the Magic. I still have the video on my phone. So it sucks to know that he was that close, especially with the Rockets, where that team was up 3-2 against the 2017 Golden State Warriors. You can argue is the best team ever to play a season of basketball with a 73-9 record. It sucks when you're that close and then you fall back on the notion that I request a trade. I played a couple of years here, not feeling it. I'm not gonna stick it out or anything like that. Harden at this point is just a glorified journeyman, and it really sucks to see because he's one of the older veterans in this league, and I still think he has some more juice in him. But if you keep blaming your teammates for not doing enough for getting into the championship, I'm sorry that you're probably never going to win a championship if you have that mentality. That's a big reason why, in my opinion, I think a guy like Russell Westbrook isn't going to win a championship either for that same kind of mentality or lack thereof. I understand he's played with guys like Harden and KD. Remember when they were in the finals together when they were with the Thunder back in 2012? That was
a long time ago.
Yeah, Harden almost won a ring then. But in this instance, he blames too much on his teammates and he doesn't work on himself and play better for the team instead of complaining and requesting trades every couple of years. And now this is just a recent iteration to that. And for exact details, Harden goes to Cleveland and Darius Garland and a second-round pick goes to the Clippers. In my opinion, I think that's a bad trade for Cleveland because I think Darius Garland is one of the core pieces that when you think of the Cleveland Cavaliers, along with Donovan Mitchell, I think he's one of the big reasons why the Cleveland has been successful as good as they have been and why Cleveland is always a playoff threat. With Harden, he came from a Clippers team who was the retirement home of the NBA currently, right? With all those old veterans, him, Kawhi, and Paul George used to be on there, not anymore. But I just think that going from that to or for Garland going from Cleveland to that, I think it's just going to hurt his I wouldn't say necessarily his reputation, but I would say it's going to hurt his value more instead of going with a playoff caliber team like Cleveland and going to a non-caliber team like Clippers, who have had their fair share of drama, especially this year with the whole Kawhi Leonard situation and in the owner situation with the scandal and everything like that. Why would you want to go from there to there? You know what I mean? And for Harden, I get it. Play with Donovan Mitchell. We'll see how that relationship lasts. It didn't work in with the Sixers with Ben Simmons. It didn't work in the Clippers. It didn't work in who else? With the Rockets after Chris Paul got hurt. So it might never work if you can't try to work on your own game and make it work instead of requesting trades and going to just bar hopping to the different teams to try to win your ring. It just simply can't happen.
Yeah, like like Kevin makes a valid point. Like you can't just throw a hissy fit where things don't work out and just request a trade and go to other places. Like it doesn't work like that. Like he's like James Harden's a ring chaser. He's more than just a ring chaser. He's a desperate ring chaser. He's not even like committing to teams anymore. It's just so sad.
Yeah. Well, yeah, no, I could appreciate that for sure. It's going to be very interesting to see what the Cavs are thinking here, but because with Mitchell and Harden, that does not seem like a good combination there. Because and I guess with Harden, I mean, like he loses interest. I mean, the professionalism. Like I remember the last few days in Houston, like he obviously gained a lot of weight, and his unhappiness with the team was so pronounced. And now to go to the Cavs, you wonder if this is what the Clippers need in getting a guy like Darius Garland, because he seems to be a piece that the Clippers could definitely use.
And I also bring the point of, like, I think what he should have done was he should have stayed in Houston even after Chris Paul got hurt and left. I think he should have stayed in Houston and then talk with like front office and say like, okay, I want to stay on this team. This is how I think we can make the team better, instead of requesting a trade and then giving up a good thing what you had there. Because look at the Rockets now. Now they have KD and they're one of the top teams in the Western Conference. Wow, you should have stayed there when you had the chance instead of going for a trade. And yes, the Brooklyn thing did work for a little bit until it didn't, but you didn't give it the time and commitment that was necessary in order to solidify yourself as being a championship caliber team. And if you only commit for 1 year, you can't, if you're not fully committed for a team for like a good chunk, maybe like 4 or 5 years, or try something like that. Talk to front office, tell them, hey, this is what I think we can do to make the team better. I'm going to work on this myself. I'm not going to make any excuses. This is what I think should be done to help the team. Do it like that instead of requesting trades and then just quitting when things get tough. That's my opinion.
It doesn't work like that where you just quit. Like you got to give an experiment a chance. Whether you agree or disagree with the direction of a program, you can't just quit like that. Like he's just so mentally weak at this point by doing the stuff he's doing.
But was it just like a bad thing going with the Clippers? Like I don't know how much older guys like Zubac is, but Kawhi's always in and out of the lineup. Paul George went off the rails. I was thinking that, like, especially when Kawhi made his way to LA, that the Clippers were going to be a force with Paul George, and of course, it's been a disaster. And and I mean, you guys tell me, like, in terms of Harden's dejection. I mean, was he mailing it in? I haven't really seen a lot of Clippers games myself, but maybe the team just tried to do him a solid, and the Cavs were just a sucker to
give in.
To give in.
I mean, the Cavs need to do anything to improve from where they are in a packed Eastern Conference. They're 6 games behind the Pistons for first in the entire East.
Yeah,
I mean, Cleveland is 5th in the East right now. They're not terribly far behind. I mean, they're not as good as they were last year. Last year they were really good, and they were probably like a top 4 seed. But I honestly am more mad at James Harden than I am about the Cleveland Cavaliers, because James Harden does this all the time. It seems like this is his routine now. Go to a team, stay there for a year or even less than that, and then leave to go to another place where I think I can win a ring, and then falter in the playoffs.
No, I'm going to tell you guys exactly what's going to happen right now. So Harden goes to Cleveland, right? He's going to have a big boost to their offense for maybe like a good few months, let's say. Gets into the playoffs, does well in the first round, and then gets to the second round, gets absolutely smacked. Harden stays there for one more year, and then the team doesn't do well, and he's like, all right, I'm out. Same thing. It's a repeating cycle with this guy.
I'm calling it right now. If that happens, he's going to the Pistons next.
There's no way. I mean,
why would he go to Detroit if Cade Cunningham is already elite enough?
There's no way Detroit.
Oh, it's a joke. It's a joke.
Okay.
It's a joke.
Okay. Gotcha.
Oh,
okay. I know for
Kev. Go ahead.
One last thing about James Harden. If you're trying to get a ring so bad, then Christ almighty, just go back to the Oklahoma City Thunder where it all started for you. They just won a championship. Just go back there.
Yeah, but you know that there's no way that the Thunder players want a guy like Harden on their team.
I mean, he's already developed into what he is right now. And OKC already has a foundation with them. Defense first, offense first and a half.
Yeah. Well, a great little sidetrack there. James Harden, now a Cleveland Cavalier. Guys, I don't know if you had forgotten, but we were talking about football in the Super Bowl. I do have a little slide to show you guys because, help me out here. I mean, is it defense that wins the big game, or is it the quarterback? And it's just so amazing that Sam Darnold has come out of nowhere too. Well, I mean, sorry, I've had Matthew Stafford in my mind, but Sam Darnold, of course, is leading the Seahawks to the Super Bowl against the second coming of Tom Brady, shall we say, with Drake May. And
man.
But a lot of people are thinking that Drake May, maybe not so much Tom Brady, but he is going to be that guy, that leader, that the replacement to Tom Brady. And is that really the case? What I did want to ask you guys, and I apologize once again. Well, how talented are the elite level quarterbacks between Mahomes, between what we're seeing in Drake May and Tom Brady and Peyton Manning and so on? How good are these guys? Is it their offensive line that gives them the opportunity to flourish and get all the accolades? Because and the reason why I'm asking this, guys, is Daniel Jones, because he from what I understood was just struggling with the Giants, and then he goes to Indianapolis. He is having a great start, and then he gets injured. I mean, and it's so amazing to see quarterbacks just succeed so strongly. Off the top of my head, I believe Matt Castle replaced Tom Brady for one season in New England, and then he goes to KC, and I don't think he was as elite as he was back then. But I mean, am I far off in saying this? I mean, is a quarterback just a quarterback, and it's just all depends on the offensive line? And I mean, I guess too that if you are able to tie it in, does Drake May have what it takes to get New England going to another run of Super Bowl appearances?
So I'll say this about Drake May. With all the hype surrounding him, I could definitely see the potential that he could have. The problem is, I think you mentioned our quarterbacks just quarterbacks, or do they have a good offensive line? I think it's a lot of factors, not just the offensive line. Obviously, a good offensive line helps when you have a ton of time to throw the ball, but you also have the defense on the other side. You need to have a good coach that knows what they're doing. And I think don't necessarily think that I think that the least impact position is actually running back, in my personal opinion. Because you look at Super Bowl winning running backs, and you don't see the big, bright, flashy names in there who have won Super Bowls. You mostly think of the quarterbacks, the defenses, and how many points that the Super Bowl winning team put on the board. And for this season in particular, yes, I will give Drake May credit. He has looked like a great quarterback this year, but then people obviously look at, like the strength of schedule that they had. It's pretty favorable if you look at it from the Patriots' point of view. They've only had, I believe, one win against a team that's over 500, and that was the Bills back in early into the season. And then you look at the postseason run, and again, the scenarios have also been very favorable. Facing a Chargers team that has Justin Herbert on it, who is not really known for doing well in the playoffs per se. The Texans, with C.J. Stroud turning the ball over 4 times on interceptions and fumbling the snap 3 times, so inexperience there. And then the Broncos, what do you know? Bo Nix gets hurt and can't play in the NFC Championship game, and they have to face a backup quarterback. But I do think the Patriots defense deserves a lot of credit for being able to get to the for being a big factor to getting to the Super Bowl. Obviously, Drake May is a big part of that, but I don't think that it necessarily all falls on Drake May to perform. In the Super Bowl, I do think it does, because in my personal opinion, he's an MVP candidate this year along with Matthew Stafford. But in my personal opinion, if he does not play like an MVP in the Super Bowl, I don't think he's going to win the Super Bowl, regardless of how good your defense is. We saw exactly what happened with C.J. Stroud having the top defense in the league, and his offensive struggles, his turnovers. He wasn't making the right decisions, and that can come from inexperience of playing in the playoffs. With Sam Darnold, you mentioned Daniel Jones. Sometimes a change of scenery can be good for a quarterback, and if you're going from a bad situation, bad system, into a good system, I think that benefits the quarterback even more if you're even halfway decent. Because look at Sam Darnold in his first 2 tenures with the Jets, not a good position or system to be in at the time, but I don't necessarily think that he was bad when he was playing there. The Panthers, same situation, a bad situation. I don't think he was the problem there. Then he goes to be a backup with the 49ers, and Kyle Shanahan. I think, Matt, we talked about this on our last episode, that we believe that Kyle Shanahan unlocked something within Sam Darnold. And you saw what he did last year with the Minnesota Vikings, of all teams, got them to a number 1 seed. And that doesn't happen. And then the Vikings, for some dumbfounded reason, decided to move on from him and replace him with J.J. McCarthy, who's garbage. And then the Seahawks pick up Sam Darnold. And what do you know? He's a Super Bowl quarterback. And I think that's a big
is that hindsight, though, Kevin? I mean, in terms of Darnold, McCarthy, let's say that McCarthy does find the code to get some success going, because there was a long stretch where Darnold, was just a middling quarterback. And I am thinking about Matthew Stafford. I mean, Matt Stafford at 37 is an MVP candidate. How many years has he been in the league? And
long time.
I mean,
since 2009.
Since 2009.
And he was not elite level until, dare I say, recently, relatively recently, because from what I see, correct me if I'm wrong, fellas, Matt Stafford wasn't really one of those elite level quarterbacks until just a couple of years ago.
Well, here's what I think. Matthew Stafford, when he was on the Detroit Lions, the Lions were a really bad organization at the time he was on there. He did guide them to the playoffs, but the problem is the Lions franchise, the team around him, was mostly not that good. What I can say about your point is maybe changing an environment can enhance your play and enhance your position in the NFL and maybe make you look better. But right now, Matt Stafford's looking great and MVP caliber because of the team around him. I think that's the main thing. There's no I in team. I'll put it that way.
But you could spell me.
Good one.
Yeah. I'll find who said that.
Yeah, no, it's just so fun. Yeah, sorry, I was just having a little tactical.
Kobe Bryant.
Yeah.
Kobe Bryant once said that.
Yeah,
Kobe Bryant said, "There's an ME in that."
I miss Kobe, man.
Oh,
yeah, hard to believe it was 6 years, eh? 6 years.
Yeah, I know. 6 years. That's crazy.
Yeah.
You can't say Kobe anymore unless you make it.
True.
Make it.
If not, then we're gonna see a whole turn of events a la regular show.
Oh God.
I'm sorry, I'm missing what you guys are referring to.
It's Cartoon Network stuff.
Yeah, Cartoon.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Now I don't know why we.
Great
Okay,
show,
gotcha.
It's a goated show.
It
Okay.
is. It really is.
Mhm.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I guess. Really, do you guys think that it's New England's game? Like, I mean, who do you guys have for Super Bowl 60?
Okay. So for context, for people who are watching, I'm just gonna say one thing. The Seahawks are a 4.5-point favorite. So if you plan on maybe seeing them win by a touchdown, or you think they're gonna win by a touchdown, you can take that 4.5 all the way. But I think I have Seattle winning and covering that 4.5. I think that their defense is really good. Their offensive skill position players are better, and I think that they've just looked better this postseason than the Patriots have. And the Patriots have played more games, but think of it. We're going to have an even playing field because even though the Patriots have had a bad 3 games, they've come out on top all 3 games in bad weather conditions. You got to give them that. So
does that make a difference? Well, I mean, I don't know what the temperature is going to be like at San Fran, but wonder if that does make a difference. The weather from the previous games.
It's supposed to be right below room temperature.
Right below room temperature? Okay.
Yeah. Kev, Alec, what do you guys think? You guys think it's Seattle as well, or?
I do think it's Seattle, and it's not for like this is not a knock on the Patriots at all. It's just, in my opinion, like just based on how I've seen both teams played, I will go back to the Patriots and like the path that they got to here. I do think that was a more favorable scenario for them as opposed to the Seahawks, where they had to go through a pretty loaded NFC conference and beat the Rams again, which I think you could argue. Me and Alec, for context, had the Rams going to the Super Bowl in like the bracket challenge that we do on Foursquare Sports. So that's how good that we think the Rams were capable of doing. The fact that the Seahawks were able to beat them tells me that the Seahawks can pretty much beat everyone that if they played exactly their game. And then you also bring up the point about offense and defense. The defense for Seattle is really good, along with their secondary. They score a ton of points.
They do.
And with the Patriots, their defense is really good, but their offense, if you look at their postseason stats in terms of offense, it's not good in terms of point scoring. It's just really not, especially when you factor in that snow game that they had against Denver in the AFC Championship game. They didn't score a lot of points. They had to kick a field goal when the snow was falling, and then nobody could move the ball. And so with Seattle, I see this game not being particularly close. In fact, I think that 4.5-point spread, I think is too low. I think it should be more around like double that, in my personal opinion. And I think that Seattle, if they do everything right, I think that they should easily win the Super Bowl. But like I said, if Drake May plays like he's an MVP, right? If he plays like that, then I can easily see the Patriots providing this rather upset against the Seahawks here with more favorable conditions this time. But for now, I'm sticking with Seattle.
All right. So sticking with Seattle. Alec?
All right. So here's the saying. If it happens once, it's by chance. If it happens twice, it's a coincidence. 3 times, it's a pattern. And with the Patriots, as I said on the previous episode of Foursquare Sports, that they've been rather lucky than they have been good in this postseason. Yes. All right, you beat the Chargers, but it wasn't really exactly that convincing. And keep in mind, I had the Chargers winning that game, but Justin Herbert has a habit of falling short in the playoffs when the lights are brightest. It's happened 3 times already, and that is a pattern in of itself. The Texans, CJ Stroud, his regression has been alarming throughout the past few years. And even having Davis Mills in that game wouldn't have changed a thing of that outcome. The Patriots are going to win that one. And against the Broncos, oh my goodness, am I ever so angry at the referees for missing that holding call against the Bills? That should have resulted in a safety. And here we go with the butterfly effect. Overtime, Bo Nix, season-ending injury. Jarrett Stidham starts. He did what he could, but unfortunately, it is a butterfly effect, and the Broncos are left to wonder, what if? So the Patriots, they need to have Drake May play at MVP level. So he was okay, but being just okay is not okay in this scenario. Seattle is the most complete team of this playoff field that is left, and they're the direct opponent of who the Patriots are facing up against. Both defenses are elite, but in my opinion, it's going to come down to which offense can flow better. The Patriots have some warning signals throughout, but the Seahawks, they've proven themselves that they are superior offensively outside of offensive line. But that's not saying much on offensive line because Will Campbell has had his shakeups, even though he did look better against the Broncos. The Patriots like to bring pressure. The Seahawks also like to bring pressure, and they don't even have to blitz either way. Mike McDonald saw the success that Kyle Hamilton's had in Baltimore. So why not have another Kyle Hamilton and Nick Eamon-Worry and a shutdown corner, Devon Witherspoon, to cancel out the other shutdown corner, Christian Gonzalez, in the head-to-head matchup. So Seattle has the all-around good best team. I think it's going to be the Seahawks, and it's going to be by at least 2 scores. I'll go one further about Super Bowl MVP. Our other co-host, John Welch, predicted Sam Darnold to be Super Bowl MVP. And you know what? I'm riding along with him. The Ghostbuster, who is more of a Joe Flacco than a Trent Dilfer. The Ghostbuster wins Super Bowl MVP.
Sorry, the Ghostbuster is who?
It
is Sam Darnold. Okay,
tell Randy a little story. It's story time, everybody. So Sam Darnold on a Monday Night Football game back in 2019, which was ironically against the Patriots. This is when he was a Jet. Had a terrible game. And then he goes to the sideline to, recover from the hits that he's taken. And he says the quote, "I'm seeing ghosts." And the NFL ESPN audio picked that up and they blasted it all over the place. And it humiliated Sam Darnold and it made him look like a fool.
Oh, okay. That's where it came from. Gotcha. Yeah, it's kind of like the Florida Panthers of back in the day when there was a big rat in the locker room. This is like within the first couple of years of their franchise.
Okay.
And that's why you see all the showering of the rats during the playoff games.
Right.
Yeah, that's why. Because somebody, I think it was Scott Mellenby.
Yes.
Saw a rat in the locker room and just became that kind of it stuck around with the Panthers there. Man, that was, oh my goodness, that was such a long time ago. But no time like the present, fellas. It's time for Straight Facts, Bro Relax. So, Kevin, you did take part in the final segment of our show, but we did have a different twist to Straight Facts, Bro Relax when you first appeared. This is Alec's first true time with this segment, and essentially I'm going to give you a statement. You're going to tell me straight facts or Bro Relax, and you are going to tell me why. Kevin, we'll go with you. And, we were, of course, talking about NHL players going to the Olympics, and who knows what's going to happen within the next few games. I believe there is already an agreement for the 2030 and 24 Olympics with NHL players going to those games. Of course, anything can change. Maybe I spoke out of turn, but this is the first time since 2014 where NHL talent will go to the Olympics. What happens if an injury takes place, whether it was Connor McDavid or anybody who has a lot riding on their team and a lot of important tasks when they do get back to regular season play? The NHL will not send players to the Olympics after the 2034 games. Straight facts, Bro Relax.
I'll say Bro Relax at this point. So, and the reason I say that is like I said when we were talking about it earlier, I think with NHLers going to the Winter Olympics, I think it has a sense of pride for them where like they get an extra boost, like going and playing for your country and for like, national pride and all that and for gold medals. And I feel like all the NHL players basically sign like a verbal agreement saying that like they do sign up for that risk and they know the risk that is involved with going to the Olympic Games and possibly getting injured and possibly like not playing the rest of the season. I think the players know that. And I don't think that even after the game's that long, after 2034, I don't expect that to change, but I think it could in the future. But for now, I'll say Bro Relax.
There's definitely everybody knows the risks, the players, the fans, the owners, and so on. But if it does happen, and let's say that Connor McDavid goes down for the rest of the season, Edmonton makes 2 finals, and they're going to take a huge step out. Leon Draisaitl playing for Germany, who's not expected to medal, but you could expect that he's going to go full tilt. And if he gets hurt, it's just more and more reason for the NHL to have a summer tournament, that World Cup, get it a 4-year consistency going. It's so disappointing because as I'm a number of years older than you guys, international hockey guys, and of course you've had to have experienced it before, but there's nothing like it in hockey. They've really missed the boat promoting the great game. Alec, off the top of my head, I can't really remember the last time there was a decent slam dunk competition in the NBA. Here in Toronto, the slam dunk between Zach LaVine and Aaron Gordon took place during All-Star Weekend. That was probably one of the best ones in the competition's history. You think about Aaron Gordon and Derek Jones, which had a little bit of controversy, but it just seems to be like it's lost so much luster. And I am wondering if it is going to last much longer. Is there a possibility that we may not see even the All-Star game weekend? I mean, because the effort is just so minuscule. With regards to the slam dunk competition, Alec, at some point the NBA will remove that competition from All-Star Weekend. Straight facts, bro, relax.
While true, the slam dunk contest has been awful over the past few years. It's gotten more the same throughout that time span. Maybe if you want to change the format, or if you want to get more stars onto the dunk competition, that could possibly save it. At some point, the NBA has to realize that they need drastic changes to the dunk competition. Well, we're not getting a lot of firepower names right onto the competition, and that's what may be hurting it. Who knows?
Yeah.
We may need Ja Morant in it. We may need Zach LaVine back in it. We may need Aaron Gordon back in it. Maybe there's some sort of exciting athlete that with highlight reel dunks in which he can light the world on fire with a signature dunk. Maybe bring back some creativity, such as when Blake Griffin jumped over a car, or when the mascot, the Magic, used one of those, something like a hoverboard, which isn't exactly a hoverboard, with Aaron Gordon is slamming it down for one of those dunk contests.
But sorry to interrupt, Alec, but I mean, that Ja Morant's not going to take part again. There's no chance, right?
I mean, he said himself that he's not going to go there. And honestly, you can understand the injury risk of all of that. Maybe you have to prioritize creativity on the next few dunk contests. So as of now, I'm going to go, bro, relax. But if it gets more stale than that, then I'll switch this over to straight facts.
Yeah. I think that there's only so many times you could see the same dunk before it loses its luster, and the talent that these that players have to do those kind of dunks is off the charts. But when you've seen it already, how many more creative dunks can you actually do? So hopefully, maybe it's time for a little break. Last and certainly not least, Maddie, I for one thought that Giannis Antetokounmpo was going to stick around in Milwaukee for his entire career. There was just such a love affair between that player and that city, and really came out of nowhere to become one of the best players in the league, won a championship, and the desire of him in Milwaukee, winning that chip for Milwaukee was obvious. And the Bucks have gone through some really tough times. They're 12th in the conference. They're 11 games under 500. And is it possible that the time will run out on Milwaukee and Giannis? Maddie, Giannis Antetokounmpo will be on a different team by the end of this season. Straight facts, bro. Relax.
Straight facts, bro. And the reason why is because it's pretty clear the relationship is tainted between the two parties. Giannis Antetokounmpo has even said that he's wanted to play. He's flirted with going to the Knicks, which I know Kevin loves that. But it's just there's just no the Bucks are a shelf what they used to be back when Giannis first came to the NBA and he was on those and he was winning those MVP awards. They've just evaporated. They won the NBA Cup, I think last year or 2 years ago. Now they've just fallen apart completely. It just seems like there's no sort of momentum anymore. And when a star player and a former NBA champion is unhappy, you have to move on. And that's the way it works. And I think people in New York would love to have Giannis Antetokounmpo come to New York. The amount of people that would be advertising and the amount of commercials he'd be in and the amount of billboards he'd be in Times Square, it'd be insane. And I think the Knicks are probably the only team that makes logical sense for him to go to. Now, Alec and Kevin might say a couple other teams, but I think the Knicks are it's almost destined for him to go to the Knicks. The Knicks have been trying so freaking hard to get a big time star to come to their team, and this is their opportunity to do so. So straight facts, bro.
Quick comment about that with the Giannis and the Knicks thing. As a Knicks fan myself, I would love nothing more than Giannis to come here. The problem is I don't think the Knicks front office can or will do that. The reason I say that is because in order to get Giannis, you would have to trade at least Cat, Mikal Bridges, maybe one of our bench guys, and you need draft capital, which the Knicks don't really have. The only draft capital that they can really utilize is the Wizards protected first round pick that they got, to where if the Wizards play up to a certain level or get somewhere in the conference, then the Knicks get that pick. So, but that relies on the Wizards actually performing well. So that's the only type of draft capital that the Knicks can offer. But if you were to somehow swing maybe Cat, Bridges, another player, and a protected first round pick for Giannis, I would be fine with that. The problem is you have teams that are in the Giannis conversation, like the Heat, like the Timberwolves, like the Warriors, who have all this draft capital and have more ammo in that department than the Knicks do, to where I feel he's going to go to one of those teams. If you ask me, I feel like he's going to be a Warrior in a few days' time, whenever the trade deadline ends.
Warrior, Golden State.
When the trade deadline ends in a couple
What?
of days. I think so, but it's a big risk on the Warriors' part, because if you look at the rumored trade packages that they had to get Giannis, they're basically gambling almost their entire future just to try to give Curry one more championship. And the bigger problem is you're only going to get Giannis for at least one guaranteed year, because he does have a player option for next year. And then he becomes a free agent and he's on anyone's game. I think he goes to the Warriors because I think he playing with a championship caliber team with Curry, why not? And they have the draft capital and they have the young players that they can trade with. That's my opinion, but I would love nothing more than for Giannis to be a Knick, because I'm tired of seeing Cat complain about every call he gets, and his big flailing arms. Even though he's white more than half the time, he just can't defend. He's not a Giannis defender. I'm sorry, he's just not better than Giannis. But I would love that.
Yeah, I don't know. You have to wonder. Yeah, sure. The Warriors may have some draft pieces and such, but I don't know if they're in a rush to overhaul their future. Or do they see a future with Giannis and Jimmy Butler coming back?
That's what I'm saying. That could be a possibility too. Or they trade Butler
True,
away.
yeah.
Well, Curry and Butler are not getting any younger, and neither is Draymond.
Right.
Well, yeah, sure. But I mean, maybe that future includes. Well, obviously, it'll include life without Curry and Draymond Green. But when they look at those years after the fact, because how long Butler's got to be roughly the same.
He's 36.
He's 36 now?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Butler's been around, yeah.
Yeah, he's been.
So I mean, like, with I guess Golden State, they have some big decisions to make.
And what
because-
about Kuminga and Podzemski, who are 23 and 22, respectively?
Yeah, and I don't know if
Those are the guys
those
that
are.
are traded.
Yeah, because they don't. And I don't really think that you could really build around the team with those two, especially. But no, it would be interesting to see what would happen with those Warriors, especially when Curry, Draymond, and I suppose Jimmy Butler ride off into the sunset.
Right.
Fellas, thank you so much. I really enjoy coming on Foursquare, and I mean, Maddie has been on a number of times. Kevin really enjoyed when you joined us a few weeks ago. Alec, the door's going to always be open for you as well. I really appreciate you joining me tonight, and let's do it again soon.
Yes, sir.
Hell yeah.
Sure,
Hell
Randy.
yeah.
Thank you so much. For Alec, Nava, Matt Siriani, and Kevin Zeliskovics, I am Randy Kure. This is Voice of the Fans Canada. Hope you're doing well and keeping safe. We will talk to you next time.